Evangelism is targeted at people that are in chaos and ready to make some decisions. Most of the people we're reaching are unchurched. What we provide is a structure of belief.
The older generation have their set, like, this is what we like, this is what we've grown into, which is respectable. But, like, everybody's different.
I think of the concept of evangelism as a bridge. I don't think it's only about the numbers. I think it's more about the capacity of knowing their needs and meeting. That's what Jesus did with everyone he encountered.
I am a product of evangelism. So when I hear the word evangelism, what I hear is a way for people to make decisions to follow Christ. It is about a decision-getting moment. There are a lot of things that lead up to that most people aren't involved with, but I think you have to have those decision-getting moments. Most of the time where we reach people is they're in chaos. They're going through a divorce, they just moved across the country. The only way out of chaos is to go into structure, because that structure is what brings the chaos under control. The pattern by which we have traditionally done evangelism is important because it provides a structure for people to believe, and so that pulls them into hearing the message of Jesus. I think the most important thing people need to hear about is Jesus, but if they don't have 7 close personal friends within that first year, they're not staying. A friend of mine was talking to a church and they said, well, we did evangelism and it doesn't work. We baptized 15 people and a year later, nobody's here. And he said to them, sounded like evangelism worked, sounded like the church didn't. A church has to be very grace-filled to bring in new people. But if it's just about doctrines, then we've missed the point, because the doctrines ought to point us to Jesus and they ought to make it clear that we're following Christ. So when I think about getting ready for evangelism, we are building friendships and going out into the community. We learn our neighbors' names. We invite them over for a barbecue. We're washing windows. We're cleaning up a park. We invite people to the church for a non-religious event. It might be a stop smoking clinic, a healthy cooking class. It might be a film, but it's not a religious event. We're not opposed to talking about Jesus at this event, but we're not calling for a decision. You know, I have a friend that goes to that church. They're always out serving in the community. And I went to one of their financial classes and it was pretty good. And now I get this brochure in the mail and I'd like to go to this seminar because I think I know what this church is about and I'd like to learn some more about it. But so many churches go to the friendship, the service, bridge events, the sowing of the seed, and they never call for a decision. And they miss the beauty of bringing people through the decision-making process. I don't think it's an either or. But then there's other churches that just go out and do a public evangelism like we've traditionally done it without doing some of those other steps. And they say, oh, it doesn't work anymore. Well, you haven't laid the groundwork for it. You lay the groundwork for it, and then you call for decision. The decisions are natural. They're not this huge step like, what, I got to go to church on Saturday. No, it's like, I want to be part of these people. They're my friends.
As I was growing up, when I would hear evangelism, I would always think of a whole week series where people had to be sitting and listening to a preacher. We were taught that evangelism had to be teach these specific items and then they will decide. And of course, you had to be a very knowledgeable person about the Bible in order to share it. Many of our church members think of that still that way. It's only meant for pastors or very trained lay people to do it. But now when I hear evangelism, I think it's life. It's a bridge of connecting people and letting them know this beautiful message that we have to share. Evangelism is being with the children in the Sabbath school class. Evangelism is doing summer activities with the youth. It's every connection that we have, every opportunity of service that we have, it's actually evangelism. We just did a camping trip with a whole family and they had never been in touch with the Bible context. And now they are wanting to come to our church because they were invited to just have that Sabbath in the beach and be involved with them. And it's easier for them not to be hesitant to accept something new when you are friends. It's not always going to look the same. It's going to have a straight foundation. The Bible gives us that. Our doctrine gives us that. But there has to be a connection between what the person is and the other side, the church members. That's what Jesus did with everyone he encountered. He 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 mingled with the people, trying to be their friend, seeing what was their necessity, and then he would send the invitation. Just this year, I had the baptism of a little girl, and she's really shy. After COVID, she started not wanting to be involved in children's activities, too shy to go to the children's story. It became an opportunity to be a friend with her. So I would see her and just compliment her on something. And one day she says, "Do you want to be my cousin?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, let's be cousins." So every time we would meet, she would just like, "Hey, cousin." And I'm like, "Hi, cousin." She saw a baptism in the church. So she said, "Well, that kid received Bible studies. I want to have Bible studies." It began building this relationship where she would come very early to the Bible study, and she's like, "I've already answered the book." And she liked it. And I liked it too, because I grew loving her and knowing her. And just after her baptism that afternoon, she's like, "Can we continue Bible studies?" And I'm like, "Yes, we can continue Bible studies." Because it's a friendship that we have built, and it's so nice to see that connection come to our reality. Over the years, as I've grown to know that being a friend of the people you are, letting them know this beautiful message, it's so much more rewarding, because you get to know why they are accepting the message or why they are not accepting the message. When you develop a friendship and know them, it's much easier to help them understand what is it, the difficult process that they're going through, or just be beside them. It's not only a pastor's responsibility, it's also the church member. I have a church member who every year he gives Bible studies. My opportunity is to become a friend to that person. So we meet, we have a coffee every week. We talk about her family, her kids, exercise. And then we do a short review of what she has already studied. My next step needs to be find a connection so that someone in church is going to nurture them and taking care of them. And not all of them will give Bible studies, but some will give a very nice meal. So each one can do a part. So and if we all share the responsibility and we all are interested in it, it just becomes a natural way of being of a live church. Just as everything I do, it's worshiping God. Everything I do can be evangelism. The way I treat my peers, the way I talk to my children and my neighbors hear it, the way I give testimony to my family, to my workers, to even my non-Adventist friends, everything can be evangelism. And if we make it a lifestyle, it just becomes a natural way of letting others know about what we know.
So for me, evangelism is embodying it, showing it by how they live their life, making people say, "I want to live like they live," like a different level. Sure, they feel sad, they feel all these feelings, but like it's still the way that they live is on a different level. I know a lot of people back home want to help people and want to serve, but like coming here to Big Lake, you know that the type of people that you're around strive for something deeper. A lot of people think like preaching and seminars is gonna like do something, but everybody is different. And so how I want to be approached might be the complete opposite of what somebody else would want. To me, it's really actions. Like actions speak louder than words. Like as an example, a few years ago, I was at campfire and I saw a camper sitting a few rows ahead of me. She was on her phone and she's not supposed to be on her phone. So her counselor actually told me, she's like, "Hey, can you go tell her to get off her phone?" And I was like, I don't want to tell her to get off her phone. She's going to hate me. And there were like physical signs of her having struggled in ways that I had struggled before. And it really hit me. And I wanted to say something. And then I was like, "Kessler, you don't need to like hop on and go crazy." But like, I just kind of went up and sat by her and I was like, "Hey, like, can you put your phone away? Like, we're not supposed to have them out." She put it away. As I sat there, I was just trying to think, what would something be meaningful that kind of like would get the point across, like just something like short and be like, "I'm here for you, I see you, you're okay." And so I was just sitting there for a while, and then finally after campfire I just like looked at her and I was like, "Hey, you're gonna be okay." And then she just started sobbing. And then I just hugged her and I told her I've struggled too. I know people say it'll get better and it might not feel like it, but I hope that I can show you that it will. In that moment, we didn't really talk anything deep about it. And the next day she went home from camp. So that whole rest of the year, I was like, I wonder if she's okay. Like, I wonder if I helped at all. And then last year I was up front leading in music and I saw her in the crowd. She came and like was giving high fives and I was like, "Were you here last year?" She's like, yeah, you remember me? And like, there's just, her eyes were like filled with life. Like she was like a different person. And I was like, yeah, like, of course I remember you. Like, you've been on my mind like all the time. I'm praying for you all the time. And she told me, you really helped me last year. That whole year of me wondering, like, I didn't really do anything. Like, is she doing okay? And then after that, I get to see her again, and she was a new person. And she was telling me that nobody has like helped me as much as you did.
When I think about evangelism, I think of a table. I love food, but it's more than that. When I think about this table, we have Jesus, the bread of life, and we're called to sit at this table with Jesus, the bread of life, at the center. There are people that we connect really easily with, that we have a lot in common with, perhaps we've been sitting there a long time with. And then there are also people that perhaps we have less in common with, that we're just getting to know. Sometimes there are people that really challenge us. You know, that there is that uncle in your family table that can sometimes really challenge you, yet we're a family. And sitting at the table together is powerful. It's important. This table that we share is something that we are called on to contribute to, ensuring that it's a safe place for people to sit at, ensuring that it's a place that people would want to sit down at. And making sure that there are seats available, because there's nothing worse than getting to a table and there being no seat for you. And imagine, though, that we've done all of this. We've prepared an amazing table and we're having a great time, and that there are even seats there for others, yet no invitation is given. I think that is a key to evangelism that sometimes we miss. We must be able to give an invitation to sit at this incredible table that Jesus has set for us.